Hey, I'm Natalie Potts, and this is the Natalie Potts podcast. If you want to talk about your business, your life, your health, and more, then you are in the right place. We do it all with humour, love, and inspiration to help you create a life you love. So, let's dive in. On this episode, I am joined by Alex Gayle. Alex became a client last year as I was mentoring him through his qualification. And he spent 3 months with me and we grew an amazing relationship. And it has been absolutely amazing to see his journey to build his business, to really focus on himself, and also his performance out of work. And if you know me well, you'll know I love my fitness. And it has been incredible to see the effort, the energy, the commitment that Alex has put into this in his own world. So this conversation is us sharing about what we love and that it's not always as hard as we think to get into conversations with people. Okay. And every conversation, well, no, actually, I lie. Every client comes from a conversation, right? And I'm not going to cut this because this is me being real and honest. And somebody's just called me real this afternoon in the mentoring experience that I gave them. And I stand by that. We're not perfect. We are not job done all the time. We're never going to get there with anything, really. So I'm going to share this episode and you're going to see exactly what I mean by how great Alex is as a person, as a businessman, and the conversation that we have, which is really rich, really inspiring, and it will hopefully help you think about how you get in conversations with people who could potentially be clients or collaborations. Who knows? The art of the possible. So over to Alex and myself in a pre-recording that we did back in February. Again, I'm really emphasizing the point of repurposing material. You do not have to get out there and continuously create new material. Okay. Over to Alex and myself. Welcome, Alex. I'm delighted to have you on. I absolutely love all my conversations with you. I love your energy, and I know that this is going to be a great conversation today. And on that part of conversation, we're going to start off by saying hello, because everything starts with hello, right?
Everything starts with hello. Hello, how are you today? How's it all going?
I'm very well. How are you doing?
I'm actually really good, thank you. I've been going every day to the gym, and I know that you've restarted this as well. And it's really good. It's really good. It gets you going. So
Yeah.
it's my new thing from this year, really, to kind of make sure I do it every day consistently.
And you are smashing it. And God, that word consistently, that's consistent is what I say. And I certainly haven't been. I will be going 4 times this week, which is all I went in January, which is I've not been like that in years. I'm always very consistent. But life happens. But yeah,
Yeah,
I'm really pleased that you're feeling great. I've done a gym session this morning as well.
awesome.
And what we're going to do is we're going to bring this conversation on to help people today to really think about and start to focus on how we build businesses, in a service-based industry, like coaching, whether it's mentoring, whether it's sales and marketing, whether you're transitioning from a corporate role or anything into doing a service-based business and building it. The fact that we go into a world of how do I get leads? How do I get connections? How do I get clients? And it's like panic stations, and all our experience, wisdom, and knowledge goes out the window suddenly. And we feel like we're back at square one of learning everything.
Exactly. Yeah.
And actually keeping it really, really basic, that
Mhm.
we have some great experience and we have something amazing that we can share with the world and gift as well.
Mhm.
And that every single client that I've worked with, or that I work with now, has come from exactly this, just saying hello and being a conversation, being genuine, authentic. And I think we can very much speak about the fact that you don't need to keep putting everything out there that feels like it's painful, etc. It's let's keep everything really, really
Mm.
simple. I feel like I've really gone on and on and on about that point. In essence, what we're making very clear here is keeping it simple and getting in genuine conversations with people will
Yeah.
bring you business, right?
Absolutely. I mean, if you think about it, and I think everybody everybody panics. Everyone really panics when it comes to this bit of the job, and they start overthinking it because you've gone through your training, you've become a coach, or you're in the process of becoming a coach, and you're doing a lot of conversations with people you've never met before every day. You're doing reciprocal coaching, or you might be coaching people, muggles, normal people, or whatever that might be. And generally, people don't have a problem with asking those people to kind of become, contacts, because they know it's for a certain purpose, but it's not a purpose that usually involves cash at this stage.
Yeah.
The only difference, really, the only different variable is the money bit.
Yeah.
And the money bit really shouldn't even be part of that conversation at the outset anyway,
Mm.
because really all you're doing is making a new friend or making a new contact when you're
Yeah.
starting out, because nobody's going to buy something from you unless they know who you are and what
Yeah.
you're about.
Yeah.
So for me, that's kind of carried me through my career. I started in sales accidentally
Mm.
about 15 or 16, maybe longer, 17 years ago,
Mm.
having been a musician and been kind of sort of my thing was to kind of do soft skills, play music with people and making people happy and that stuff. And then I joined sales and I didn't have a clue what sales was, and I was panicking and I didn't know I thought, God, is sales like, being in a market stall and shouting out two, two for a pound, what's sales? I have no
I
idea.
know where.
Yeah. All right. All right. And then my boss at the time, his amazing mentor, sadly she passed away recently, but she said to me, Alex, sales is a conversation. It's just making friends. That's all it is. And so I took that on, and I would like to think it's done all right, because at the end of the day, all we're really doing at this stage is making friends and learning about other people, letting them know a little bit about you. And then in the normal way that we talk, like you and I are talking, I talk for a bit, you talk for a bit, I talk for a bit, you talk for a bit. The money bit doesn't come into it. The
Mm.
the value of the friendship is the beginning. And then yeah, if it turns into a coaching conversation, however long that might take, great. But if it doesn't immediately, so what? What have you lost? You might have made a new contact, or someone who you've helped in some way.
Yeah, it's funny, I guess, and we're doing sales all the time, aren't we? I've realized that recently, that when I think back to being in retail and being a leader there, that I never saw it in that way. And I guess it's because when you run your own business, you're emotionally attached to something, to this in a very different way.
Yeah.
But also this idea that, like you shared there, it's about just building a relationship, know, like, and trust somebody, and that
Mm,
sells across the board. And
mm,
and I have a sales mentor as well who's phenomenal, because I realized coming out of corporate into my own role, I was like, I say silly things like I don't do sales, or I do
mm.
this. It's like it's a bit of BS, and it's in my
Yeah.
head, it makes me feel good, and
Yeah.
but it's not true. And actually, when you really see what sales is, it isn't the and I'm not saying this is bad sales. It's everybody has their own opinion on it. I'm not going to give an opinion on this one, but it's not like sales isn't being pushy. It's not standing on there, like a
Yeah.
street stall
Yeah.
saying, get this. It's not
Yeah.
being a car salesman. Okay. If
Yeah.
that happens, that's life. And there are people that ring
Yeah.
us up in call centers and are very
Yeah.
pushy. It isn't
Yeah.
that. And it is very much, as my monitor says as well, that it's building a relationship and gathering all the information as well you need, and serving somebody so that then they can make an informed decision. And I think that latter part there is really key, that we're not pushing people to do something, we're giving them enough information as well on how we can help them, serve them to a degree and to a point, for them to make a decision about what next, because we're adults, and that's
Yeah.
really important.
Absolutely. I mean, there's nobody bought anything from anybody that they didn't want to buy. It was a
Yeah.
case of, the relationship either inspired the fact that the person liked that person enough to listen to what that product was about, um, to then get into a buying conversation. So, it's interesting, because, as you say, when you work for another company, and I've worked for other companies, and it's third party, you're working for a brand, and that brand is, it's credible and it's great and you trust it and everyone likes it, and it's a case where you can talk with authority and confidence around it. But then when you come into this world and you're saying, okay, this is, Natalie Potts or Alex Gayle or whoever, then you're like, oh God, it's me now. Do I trust me? Am I about what am I authentic? Am I credible?
Mm.
Of course you are. You really are. But the thing is, the only way that you're actually going to let people know about that is by talking to them and
Yeah.
letting them make that decision.
Yeah.
So it's a case of one call at a time,
Yeah.
one conversation at a time, I mean, there's a lot of ways to get through to a lot of people in a kind of a, email marketing automation style, which is wicked if you're set up for that, if you've got the investment to do that. I think to begin with, just make a phone, just pick up the phone, send a voice note. You know, I don't love email personally
Right.
because it's not my. If I get a lot of emails from a lot of people when I just don't really, and I feel awful because there's somebody at the other end of it, going, please, somebody, Alex, answer this one.
Me.
But really, yeah, well, apart from you, yeah, and actually, you're actually one of them. But but the thing is, real communication is what, for me, is what really works. So, and I think
It's
that's, yeah,
it's very, very interesting that you say that, because it's very topical conversation in a mastermind I'm invested in, about this idea that, again, there's a few big shifts coming this year, especially in the world we're in, coaching and mentoring as well, that the genuine connection, and that sparked on today, is like, how do I've got a community of people where they're sitting in there, and I'm very much big that you can have 100,000 people follow you on things or be in a community, but if there's zero engagement or zero people invested in offering value, there's no purpose to that. And
yeah,
actually, you can have 10 people, and if you make a difference to those 10 people and you change their lives, you change your
mhm,
life. So
yeah,
I'm very much invested in that. And the conversation we have a lot around this is that people genuinely want to feel connected like that. They want to feel valued, and that there is the know, like, and trust factor again kicking in.
yeah,
And the challenge out to people, if they're struggling to get or create, is the way I prefer to phrase it,
yeah,
leads,
yeah,
is that getting conversations in where your client is hanging out
yeah,
and where they're going to buy.
yeah,
And like you say, if your ideal client isn't an email, don't email.
yeah,
You've got to understand the
yeah,
psychology and the narrative of your ideal client. That's why we talk about niche and specializing so
yeah,
much. And it's true. And sometimes I was a bit of a rebel last year and wanted to battle against everything and do my own thing. And one of
yeah,
my friends who's a coach said, "Nat, just like, success is cool, just bloody do it." And there's
yeah,
an element to that too. So do what works, and that's by asking people like what they want as well, and serving them on
yeah,
that. Listen to what they need, really
yeah,
listen to their problems, and
yeah.
build a relationship. And they're just serving. You don't have to have the intention of going in of, this is my program, this is my offer, this is what I do. Like, nobody cares about that. What
I
they
mean,
care about is
yeah,
you helping them on the problem that keeps them up at night.
yeah. I mean, I think you're absolutely spot on there. I think people can smell desperation, if that makes sense, or they
Yeah.
can. I was going to use a different word, but we're not going to say that today. But they can smell the desperation in somebody's tone of voice,
Yeah.
or laziness, actually, in the way
Yeah.
that they approach. They try and mass approach, with as opposed to really being quite personal. And I think the only real way to kind of start a real coaching conversation with people is to, you know, as you say, find out what makes them tick, what makes them get up in the morning, what holds them, what keeps them awake at night,
Yeah.
what's making, and then, empathize with that, and figure
Yeah.
out or let them know what you've done. If you're a step ahead of them, and you might be, if you're in that niche of that coaching niche, you might say, well, in this situation, this is how I dealt with it, or somebody else dealt with it. Yeah, and some people might say, oh, but you're giving away all the tips. You're giving it. No, you're not. You're really not. You're
And
literally
you're
building. You're
doing
building. You're
what
building your
and why,
audience.
but not the
Yeah,
how.
yeah. So, and it's so, don't, in my very non clever opinion, I'd say, just be yourself, be really authentic. All it takes is one conversation. You called me. I said, I think I posted on the day I signed up for coaching TCA. Hi, I'm Alex, and I just started. I'm really scared. Oh my god. Blah, blah, blah." And that literally, just anyone listening, that literally just message.
Hello.
She messaged me. She didn't email. She messaged me with a voice message. Hi, it's Natalie. Just say well done on this. If you ever want to have a chat, and this is before Nat really went down in her specific kind of business style niche, but it was just a conversation, and we didn't even talk about coaching. She just kind of helped me because I was bricking it. Didn't have a clue about coaching, or didn't even really know why I'd signed up. It was like it was brand new, and that was just nice. I felt like I picked up a friend and
Yeah.
helped, and that was it. And then the conversation moved into, well, actually, we could do some coaching, and
Yeah.
that was how that worked. And all you have to do is that, just do that. That's all. That's
You
it's.
know what's been to mind? I might even call it this, and when I put this in podcast as well,
Mm,
but it's just be interested in being interested in people.
yeah, generally, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
Don't come across, like, hi, I saw that you just signed up. Would you like to buy my services? No, it just be yourself, and that's what exactly, because people will only buy from people that they trust, and they'll only listen to people that they trust. Forget the buying bit at the beginning, anyway. If you've got any idea of wanting to make a career out of this, it's a long game. You're going to have to work hard.
yeah,
So,
it is. And that's the part. And I've really had to pull myself a bit this week as well again on this. I know that like there's times you've got to get bored at stuff, or that there
mm,
is times I say quite a lot to myself, suck it up, buttercup. Like, suck it up now. It's tough at the minute on days, or my days have been really long this week.
yeah,
And then, but that's where I always talk so much about vision because I'm so drawn by that
yeah,
this is what I'm working towards. I'm enjoying the process. I'm loving it. The failures are my growth part.
yeah,
And I'm facing those, and I need more of them to grow even more. I need to put myself to not be the smartest person in the room. I need to
yeah.
put myself out there and be bold, and just keep evolving. And I was thinking of something else earlier with I've lost it now, the train of thought. But yeah, it's a constant journey part.
It is, and you never know who's listening either. I mean, I had two funny situations in the last 24 hours where I spoke to a friend of mine in Cyprus, and I was chatting away about coaching, and he's just got a coach actually after needing one for years. And I said to him about my fitness thing that I'm doing, and he went,
Yeah.
and I said, "Oh, I'm really pleased about it." And he said, "Yeah, but you missed one, didn't you?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" He said, "Because you wrote on your Instagram post that you were really annoyed with yourself that you missed a session." I was like, "But you didn't say anything." He's like, "No, no, I read everything, but I never say anything."
Yeah.
And similarly, my another friend of mine yesterday as well kind of said, "How's my dad's been in hospital? He's fine, but he's been in hospital. He's had an operation." And he said, "How's your dad doing?" And I was like, "How do you know?" He said, "Oh, I saw it on the post." He's like, "But you didn't." I said, "You're a lurker.
Yeah.
You're a lurker." So you never know who's
Like, you don't.
who's taking it in.
I used to get really annoyed, like, why are people lurking? Why don't I get involved? Like,
Mm,
but I'm a lurker in places, not
yeah,
intentionally. I
100%.
just that. But I
Yeah,
like being in there. So
yeah,
again, don't assume, makes an ass out
yeah,
of you and me.
yeah,
Just again, serve, give people an elegant out, almost as my mentor
yeah,
says. I can't quote that. It's Matt Elwell. He says, give people an elegant out that
yeah,
so once every 3 months in the community, I will voice note everybody again and just say,
yeah.
hiya, love to get connected, find out if there's anything else I can help you with.
Mm,
Or do you know if this isn't the right space for you, then my challenge to you is just put your time where it is. And that's not I could go, leave, get out, I'm going to drop you out.
yeah,
But and there's points when I might have had to do that with people that have just taken stuff, and then I thought
yeah,
you're not actually seeing this as a reciprocal part here
yeah,
at all. And that's right. But definitely, I'll just say that it's anything else because you're here.
yeah,
I want you to
yeah.
make the most of your time investment because time's our most valuable
Mm,
asset. And that's
it really
exactly the
is.
point of this again that, use and connect work with people around you. We often don't see the opportunity around us and that we have a wealth of people that we know in our worlds
Yeah,
anyway to just connect with. Doesn't mean
yeah,
they're a client, but you've got an amazing network. I really value my world. Alex, who do you know who needs what I do?
yeah.
Jamie, who know what I do?
Absolutely.
Just ask the
Yeah,
question. You never
yeah.
know.
You never know. And the thing is, if you don't hear, the thing is, if you don't do it, nothing will happen,
No.
right? So
Oh, yeah.
the worst thing that can happen is someone says no, or not for me right now. That's
Yeah.
it. That's the
Absolutely.
worst that can happen. Nobody's going to cry if you ask them. Nobody's going to slam the phone down because all you've said is, do you want to? This is what I'm doing. Love to have a chat about this. If this resonates with you, or what, or however you phrase it. Um, nobody's. If, you might get some people saying, "Sure, call me in a month or two, or
Yeah.
whatever."
Yeah.
Brilliant. That's a win in my eyes. If you get enough of those, you're doing well. So yeah.
It's often more about them if anyone is ever nasty. And I've never really had it, to be fair. And even like I remember having a boss years ago and he said, like, no one's died. And I'd be like,
Yeah,
what? I was like,
yeah,
oh my God, it took me a while to get over that. And I
yeah,
heard it again on Bloomberg, somebody yesterday, we're talking about a big issue in the world right now. And they're like, nobody died. And I was like,
yeah. Well, my
wow.
dad, as my dad and my granddad always say, they always say, worst things happen at sea.
Yeah.
You know, I
Yeah.
mean, all we're doing is helping people. It's
Yeah.
not that we're not gonna do anything worse than that. So
Look,
yeah.
Alex, as always, it's a beautiful conversation with you. I love my time with you. I love chatting. I love seeing your journey because it inspires me and makes me want to. I'm like, oh,
Well,
come on,
to be
come
fair, it
on.
started with you. Now I
I
didn't even
know.
really know. I didn't really know what coaching was, to be absolutely honest. I kind of, it started there. So thank you, really.
Bless you. Where can people connect with you?
So you can find me on alexgalecoaching.com. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me on Instagram and Alex Gale Coaching. You can find me in the club. No, just kidding. I don't know. Every anywhere really, social, or you can just message me and we can have a chat. That's it.
Basically, you
And
get around.
get around. Get
You're
around
around.
a
Love
little
it.
bit. A little
Love
bit.
it.
I've
Yeah,
got to go.
thank you so much for your time. Thank
Thank you
you.
so much as well. Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you felt inspired, please make sure you share this with a friend and subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. I really love hearing feedback from you. So if you have a question, topic, or want to hear from someone you love on this show, then head to my website, Natalie Potts Coaching, and let me know. Until next time, have an amazing week and know that you have value to offer this world.